I'd like to start off. Mr. Gravely, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Our state leaders today, as they are determining policies that would benefit all Georgians. We ask that you'd be with our personnel with the Georgia Department of Transportation as they're out and about across our state today. And Father God, be with us on this board. Lord, we just thank you for all the many blessings that you've given our state. We ask that we would do all things that would be honoring and pleasing unto you. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. And we have a lovely day, it looks like, so far, so I hope it continues, and I hope my leading this meeting doesn't ruin the day in any way. But we'd like to move forward, and I'd ask Kristen to do a roll call, please.
Okay. I'll go by congressional district, starting with District 1, Ms. Purcell. Present. 2, Ms. Williams. Here. 3, Mr. McIntyre.
Present.
4, Mr. Brown. 5, Ms. Key.
Present.
6, Mr. Stoner.
Present.
7, Mr. Stein.
Present.
8, Mr. Golden.
Here.
9, Ms. Dunn. 10, Mr. Boswell.
Here.
11, Mr. Lewis.
Here.
12, Mr. Snipes.
Here.
13, Ms. Lemon. Here. And 14, Mr. Gravely.
Here.
We have a quorum present.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the January board meeting.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any remarks? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Mr. Shelby, welcome to the front, sir.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Members of the board. I'm here to present the projects what the department is proposing to advertise for the March 2026 letting. Okay, so before we present March, here are the current FY 2026 results. We have let a total of 193 projects. This chart shows the number of projects by improvement type. The value of these 193 projects is approximately $1.82 billion through the January 2026 bid awards. Of the 193 projects, 187 are GDOT let with an approximate value of $1.8 billion, and 6 are local let with an approximate value of $15 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type, with roadway and maintenance projects making up the bulk of these improvements. Here are the results of the January 2026 letting. Of the 11 GDOT let contracts that were presented to the board, all were awarded. Now I'm going to discuss the projects in the March 2026 letting. We have a total of 28 projects. 27 are GDOT let and 1 is local let. The next 3 slides list these 28 projects arranged by congressional district. So as you can see with this slide, we're letting a variety of projects across the state to address maintenance, bridge, capacity, and safety issues. The first highlighted project will resurface I-516 and State Route 21 in Chatham County. The work will extend to just north of the CSX crossing to north of Smith Avenue, covering about 2.8 miles. This next highlighted project focuses on improving roadway safety and visibility along I-75 in Bibb County, stretching from the Toba-Sofkey Creek to Oglethorpe Street. The work involves restriping the interstate to enhance reflectivity of lanes, making conditions. This next project will deliver a major enhancement to the Atlanta Beltline corridor in Fulton County. The main trail will be approximately 14-foot wide concrete shared use path spanning 2.7 miles, designed for both bicyclists and pedestrians. In addition, the project includes about 2.1 miles of spur trails that are 12 feet wide, plus several supporting structures such as walls, bridges, and a tunnel to ensure connectivity and safety. The trail begins at the current end of the East Side Trail at 10th Street and Monroe Drive and extends towards I-85 near Lindbergh Center. This transformative project is supported by a RAISE grant, as well as providing significant improved mobility and access to our communities. This next project will widen State Route 81 in Henry County from east of Lemon Street to east of Bethany Road, covering approximately 3 miles. The roadway will expand from 2 lanes to 4 lanes with a raised median, which will improve traffic flow and safety. The design includes curb and gutter, ADA-compliant sidewalks, a shared use path, and wheelchair ramps to enhance accessibility for users. Several improvements include the proposed raised median, aimed to support safer turning movements and reduce congestion. This project was designed and sponsored by Henry County and will be led by GDOT. This next project focuses on improving roadway safety through off-system enhancements at 3 locations in Bartow County. The work will cover a combined length of 15.4 miles and includes targeted shoulder improvements designed to reduce crash risks and enhance overall driving conditions. These upgrades are part of a broader effort to improve safety on local roads to connect communities and support regional mobility. This resurfacing project will improve pavement conditions along State Route 293 in Bartow County, covering approximately 5 miles from Martin Circle to the Floyd County line. Another resurfacing project will improve pavement conditions along State Route 272 in Washington County, covering approximately 15 miles from State Route 68 to State Route 24. This and the previous resurfacing projects will restore the pavement, enhance ride quality, and improve safety for motorists while being part of an ongoing effort to maintain reliable infrastructure and extend Georgia's roadway life. This next project will construct a new bridge to provide grade separation between State Route 21, which is the Millen Bypass, and the Norfolk Southern Railroad near the northern boundary of Millen in Jenkins County. The work spans approximately 0.4 miles along State Route 21 from State Route 121, which is also US 25, on the west side to Perkins Road, which is Harvey Street on the east. The proposed 3-span bridge will be 180 feet long and built on the existing alignment, crossing both the current and future railroad tracks, as well as the railroad access road. The bridge will feature 2 12-foot lanes in each direction, 10-foot outside and 6-foot inside shoulders, providing safety and mobility by eliminating the at-grade rail crossing. This project was funded through a multimodal project discretionary grant as well as state general funds. This last highlighted project will replace the 2 aging culverts on State Route 61 near Perry Creek. Both structures, built in 1935 and reconstructed in 1951, no longer meet current standards. They show significant deterioration, including cracking, spalling, and silt buildup that restricts water flow. The northern culvert will be replaced with a new 90-foot bridge, and the southern culvert will be replaced with a new culvert. The roadway will have 2 12-foot lanes with improved shoulders. An on-site detour will keep traffic moving during construction. The project covers about 0.4 miles, roughly 6 miles north of Crandall in Murray County. And here's a ground view of one of the culverts that's going to be replaced, along with images of its deterioration.
Good morning, Chair,
Good morning.
Commissioner, other members of the board. I'm here to present the TIA March letting. We have one project in River Valley 2, Congressional District 2, in Marion County. It is the downtown Buena Vista improvements. This project will consist of resurfacing and striping around the square in downtown Buena Vista. Other improvements will include drainage, wider sidewalks, improved pedestrian crossings, and an inner perimeter sidewalk that will be a new addition. This represents a total investment of $2 million in Marion County, River Valley 2.
So we have 28 projects proposed for the March 2026 letting. 27 are GDOT let, 1 is local let. This chart shows the distribution by improvement types. The estimate of the projects in the March 2026 letting is approximately $280 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type. I now ask for your consideration for approval of the proposed projects for the March 2026 letting.
Thank you, Mr. Shelby. I'd like for a motion and approval to, for the letting for March.
We approve March letting.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Shelby.
Thank you.
Good report. Mr. Commissioner, it's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's a very efficient meeting. It looks like I've got 49 minutes with you. We'll stretch. No, I'm just kidding. We'll run an efficient meeting. It's great to be with you, again on a beautiful day, and I'll get to the weather in a moment, but first, let's jump in, as always, on our state fund collections. For the January, the collections total $222.8 million. Breakdown on that was about $193.9 in excise and $28.8 million in either transportation trust fund or transit fees added all together, bringing fiscal year to date to $1.5 billion, nice round number there. $1.4 billion in excise, $155.1 million in fees, which gives us about $111, almost $112 million ahead of where we are this year from last year. So again, revenue lines trending up, which is good, which supports the budget that Angela presented yesterday in committee meetings in the Finance Committee about where we are in the budget as we're working through budget. And as she presented that yesterday, I just wanted to circle back again to acknowledge the budget line item for amended 26, the $2.3 billion added for state general funds by the governor, and the House and the Senate have worked on that budget as well. It's been a little few gives and takes, puts and takes here and there as to be expected, but still having an additional $2.3 billion added to our budget is just outstanding. So we, again, want to acknowledge and thank the governor for his leadership in investing in transportation that gives us the ability to do the lettings that you just approved. And yesterday in that, of course, the biggest line item at $1.716 billion roughly is for the I-75 project that we talked about and you heard about in the committee of the whole yesterday. I wanted to bring this up because Janine had it in her presentation. She had a great presentation about the need for I-75 express lanes. Besides Dana Lemon believing that, she was able to convince everybody that I-75 needs capacity and we need to do that in a smart way through express lanes and extension and adding capacity to express lanes. But Janine referenced something, I heard it on the radio this morning, so I thought I would just bring it up, is the American Truck Research Institute, ATRI, it was on the radio this morning about Georgia having 9 out of the top 100. Only Texas has more freight bottlenecks than us. That's not something we're proud of. Of course, everything's bigger in Texas, I suppose, but they can stay on that list. But I thought it'd be important to just talk about that. So we have 9 out of the top 100. In fact, we had 4 in the top 10. 2 of those are actually under construction, being I-20 East and I-20 West at 285, those interchanges. So we're addressing those 2. One of them was State Route 400 at 285, and I believe this data is a little bit of a lag, so that project is now completed. So we hope to see that one move way down the list or off the list. And then, obviously, I-75, as Janine said yesterday, in McDonough, it was number 10, and it's not an interchange. All these other things are interchanges. This is a corridor, and it's ranked number 10 in the nation, had moved up, in fact. And then number 75, one of our number 75 in the nation was I-75 at 675 on the north end of the express lane. So those two will be actually addressed in our project, sufficient that the budget moves ahead as we believe it will for the amended year. And then there's two other of those projects that are in our express lane projects on 285. So I think the bad story is Georgia's got 9 out of 100, and the good news is we're working to address almost all of those, either actively under construction or something in the near future. So we recognize that, but I'll have to tell you, all these projects are huge. I mean, they're huge dollar projects. The 285 on the west side at I-20, basically that project cost is about our total federal budget for the year, to give you some perspective. Obviously, we had to work through CERTA to do this project and basically pay for it over many years. And so these are just huge investments, but it shows the importance of freight to our economy, not only for Georgia, but the nation, and how we're investing in that. So I just wanted to flag that. It was on the radio this morning. The CEO of that organization for ATRI is Rebecca Brewster. She actually lives in Atlanta, so she knows our situations well. She was on the radio this morning, and I certainly appreciate Rebecca and the work ATRI does. It is again, a third-party data source that helps us make sure we're investing strategically, and we continue to do so. Let me move, or any questions about that or that report? We always sort of wait on that to come out every year and to see how we do. That's the list we don't want to be on, so we're going to get off that list. We like to be on a lot of lists, but not that one. Okay, let me move just into employment, get back on the normal schedule here. In January, we ended with 4,040 employees. The good news is we hired 49 employees. The bad news is we had 60 separate. And so that was a net loss, of course, and we continue to work to fill our positions and get people to stay here. In procurement, all the work it takes to deliver projects to get to this point of you approving projects to be bid. In January, we completed 188 contracts valued at a little over $106 million, bringing fiscal year date to 1,190 contracts that have been executed for professional services at $600 million to do that work. Again, all the things that's necessary to deliver projects where we rely on consultant services. Now, since we were together last time, we've had a few projects open up. It's always hard to open projects in January, weather usually, and we'll talk about weather some more in a moment, but weather usually is tough to get projects done, but we had several that were completed. We'll start in Congressional District 2, in GDOT District 4, down on State Route 91 from 234 to the Lee County line in Daugherty County. I know one board member that knows about Lee County. Might have been there yesterday, in fact. So hopefully you got to ride on State Route 91. 6 miles of resurfacing and shoulder rehabilitation. The contractor was Griffin Grading and Concrete. The project was a $4.7 million investment, opened just right after the first of the year. Now we'll move up to Congressional District 10 in Oglethorpe County, which is GDOT District 2 out of the tunnel office. An off-system safety improvement. Albert just advertised one of those, but this was around 9 miles of some resurfacing, some signing upgrades, pavement markings, and shoulder rehabilitations on 5 county roads there in Oglethorpe County. Pittman Construction Company and Garrett Paving were the contractors on that to do those upgrades, and it represented a $1.3 million safety investment, again, on county roads. Which come from a data-driven approach, looking at data, crash rates, things like that, to say these are where we need to strategically target safety improvements, again, on county roads, in fact. Moving in Congressional District 12 in Johnson County, which is, again, in the GDOT District 2 district. This was a local bridge replacement on Cross Cedar Road at Big Cedar Creek in Johnson County. Contractor was Gregory Bridge Company. It represented a $7.6 million local bridge investment. Staying in Congressional District 12, but moving over to Richmond County, in GDOT District 2, is a capital maintenance project, a concrete rehabilitation project there in the Augusta area on I-520, from State Route 4 over to State Route 56, so about 4 miles. Causey Contracting was the contractor, and it represented a $4.6 million capital investment. You can sort of see the patchwork of slabs that have been rehabilitated, but also nice fresh striping on that roadway as well. Now, as we've talked a little bit about today being a somewhat, it's not quite sunny, I don't believe, but maybe it will be. It was just a few weeks ago, back in January, and transitioning into the first part of this month was not quite the case of being 70 degrees. In fact, it was a lot worse. And, you know, as you recall, we had really 2 weekends of back-to-back winter weather events, and there was actually a third week prior to that was more of an isolated area, not necessarily a statewide event, but we had those two events back-to-back. And you've seen through the board presentations just recently, Emily Fish came and provided what do we do to prepare for these inclement weather days, and I think you can see that from our response that preparation actually paid off. You know, both of these storms were forecast to be large and very impactful. The first one, of course, was more of an ice event, which really gave us a lot of concern because you can't plow ice. Ice is a rink. You skate on it. So getting ahead of that by pre-treating with brine, of course, is our best defense to keep that from bonding, and hopefully then we can try to get the ice off the road. And of course, the other issue there was accumulation ice on trees and power lines, which obviously cause hazards for us to be able to do our job when trees are in the road or power lines are down. And so, of course, the second snow event, the second winter event was more of a snow event, quite the opposite. And snow is actually, you can plow snow, you can handle snow. And this snow was very dry, in fact. And in fact, when the plows would hit the snow, it sort of just fluffed up sometimes. But it was a much different event. We're thankful for Governor Kemp being proactive and declaring a state of emergency for the state for both of these events. What that does is empowers the full state response, which is very helpful for us because it's a team sport. Obviously, GEMA, Homeland Security, is the leader of the state effort. We have a big response for the roadways, but we have a tremendous amount of help from the Department of Public Safety, the State Patrol, and helps us in escorting our brine units. People pay more attention to blue lights than yellow lights for some reason, so we really appreciate their ability to help us in getting the pre-treatment out. Even so with blue lights, there was a vehicle that ran into the back of our brine truck and then bounced off the brine truck and hit the police escort and basically totaled the trooper's car out. Luckily, nobody was hurt from anybody. But just again, with yellow lights, blue lights, people still run into you, so it's dangerous work. But again, besides Department of Public Safety, Department of Natural Resources, chainsaw strike teams, especially on that ice, we knew that we would be busy dealing with trying to get the roads open, so they had chainsaw strike teams along with Georgia Forestry Commission. They came together and had chainsaw teams to help us tremendously, and they helped the counties as well. So again, it's a team effort, but Governor Kemp's declarations certainly were important for us to do. And it was, both of those storms were a all-in response. So those two responses, just to give you some totals, to give you a little perspective, we used 3 million gallons of brine. I didn't do the calculation on how many swimming pools that is, but it's a lot. 17,000 tons of salt. Can I give you a data point and you can do the math in your head? Salt's roughly $200 a ton. So, we buy salt in bulk. And 6,000 gallons of calcium chloride. When the temperature, as you recall, the temperature got really cold. So when it gets super cold, down into the teens, we have to resort to using calcium chloride to help melt the ice. So we use 6,000 gallons, that's the liquid calcium chloride, and 25,000 pounds of calcium chloride as in granular form. So a lot of work. Both of these weather events, we had a... in
the process of treating those
Sorry, hold on a second. Got ahead of myself, I suppose. Both of these events had a lot of media coverage, and I want to just commend our Strategic Communications Office. Natalie Dell, our spokesperson here, was on TV every hour of the day, I think. I'm not sure if she slept. Matter of fact, I do know that she slept on the floor at the TMC for a little bit, maybe an hour or two one night, but certainly appreciate what she did. But also our district communications officers did a fantastic job with local media outlets, working with them, and again, getting the word out. We will take the blessing that both of these happened over the weekend. So traffic volumes are off a little bit, but the public really heeded our messages of staying off the road. So we saw 80% traffic reduction in the first event, and about a 30% traffic reduction in the second event. And so that was very helpful to see. And we put together this compilation video, or not we, I had nothing to do with it. Our strategic communications team put a compilation video together to sort of show you some of the efforts that we put forward. And of course, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so a video is worth even more. So let's watch it.
In the process of treating those roads tonight, let's get over to 11 West Doug Bridge. The coverage continues in this afternoon to make sure you are ready for this storm.
After 15 years in this, wearing this hat, people sometimes choose not to listen to me, oftentimes choose not to listen to me, sometimes, at their own risk. And so when you have that many people heed a warning, it means that we really are doing the job that we need to be doing to keep people safe.
UDOT says the goal is to be over-prepared. Here at their brining center, they have 110,000 gallons of brine mixed and ready to treat the road.
Once we know when the best time is, our crews will start coming in, and we'll put brine out on every state route in northwest Georgia.
We're always ready for this. We work around the clock, starting in the summertime, preparing for days like these, for weeks like these.
The Georgia Department of Transportation crews in Hall County are already preparing to treat major roadways with brine.
Again, much better than what I can say, but let me just, again, comment on that video. You saw a lot of action there. You saw a lot of the sort of voiceover or what the news media was putting out there. We had a lot of media hits that were all positive. Usually in our business, no news is good news. But to get positivity, that was strategic by execution of the men and women of GDOT out there working very hard in very inclement weather. The interesting thing about both of these storms are where they were and the impact it could have on Metro Atlanta. I remind you that if there's a Metro Atlanta event, winter weather event, we bring our crews from Tifton and Jessup here to do the brining of the interstates. And District 7 focuses on all the other ramps, interchanges, everything here, because it's such a big network of roadways. This storm, both storms were more statewide. So the first storm, as District 4 and District 5 people came up, they literally got home for a day, and then we had to call them to say, get ready to go to work again. But in this case, a lot of strategy in following how the weather forecast was playing out. We greatly appreciate GEMA for having a meteorologist, a state meteorologist that we can rely on. Will Langston does a fantastic job of dissecting the weather to help us understand where things may happen. We also have a great relationship with the National Weather Service that gives us basically personal briefings. They brief out their normal briefings, but they talk to us, and we get to ask them all kind of questions. They run the models for us. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into how do you respond to something that is as exacting as the weather forecast. And seeing how our team responded, especially in the last event, which became sort of the eastern half of the state from top to bottom, including plowing snow in Savannah. Which is, again, and that's 2 years in a row now. We've got to stop that. But we had our crews on the west side of the state, especially District 3, District 6. They had their crews hop over and come to the east side of the state. They were working part of their districts anyway, but it wasn't their whole district. So the west side of the state, I guess, Kathy, y'all are living a charmed life over there, and maybe Micah, y'all are living charmed lives over there and not getting this weather, but they had to hop over and work on the east side of the state to see how agile that is. And when I say that's agile, that sounds easy, but our procurement team does they do a lot of gymnastics in finding a place for our people to stay. Trying to get hotels on the fly is not easy. And so you have to think about people, where they live, the time they have to rest. We do have to get some rest. So it was amazing to see. We're going to knock on wood that, stay the weather, but we're not, I won't feel good about winter weather to about 1st of May. But again, a fantastic job, and the dedication and the commitment of our staff is just unparalleled. Again, very weary, had worked, 4 or 5 days on going to shift changes. If you think about it, we all work during daylight hours, but when we go to 24 hours, we're putting people on night shifts. They've just worked a day shift. We have to think about all that, and coming off working all night and trying to get your days and nights figured out is hard on people. So just again, the commitment, dedication is amazing. Governor Kemp called me on late Sunday evening after the second event and just was talking about he had traversed the entire state from the coast all the way back up to Athens and just talked about seeing everything, seeing what the conditions of the roads. Was very appreciative, and of course he actually penned a letter to the public about the great response for the entire state of Georgia in these couple of weather events. And of course we particularly noticed the shout out to GDOT in that letter, so we appreciate his acknowledgement of that and the partnership. So with that, we'll look forward to summertime.
Governor, I got one comment. I mean, you talk about a shout out.
Yeah.
I can remember in years past, the results after these ice storms were not like they are today. So that just goes to the leadership, being you and everyone else at GDOT, and how much it means to the state of Georgia, the safety and businesses being able to open and operate. But I just want to thank you and and the GDOT for all they do for these projects.
It's, again, dedication, commitment. The women and men at GDOT are just as unparalleled, and we're grateful and thankful for them. All right, let me move forward and get a little closer to home. Just wanted to highlight again how you as board members work with your local governments, which is so important, and just wanted to highlight that Ms. Lemon and GDOT District Engineer Tyler Peak met with Henry County and the city officials there in Henry County to highlight a lot of major projects going on in Henry County, and you just approved one more major project to be bid there on State Route 81. Again, a partnership project with Henry County, with them leading in the design and funding the design and part of right-of-way acquisition, and we're... Yeah, official hat. So thank you for pulling that together. We had the city of McDonough, Stockbridge, had Board of Commissioners, including Chair Harrell, and the mayor of Stockbridge, as well as folks from Henry County. And y'all did a rolling tour, it sounds like, and traversed a lot of the county. And you can see the list of the projects there that are ongoing. And really, again, thanks for thanks for that local touch. These are projects that are in everybody's community, and it makes a difference when they know what's coming and what's going on and providing an update. And as always, y'all call me, we call our district engineer. So, and you all know to call your district engineer. So appreciate Tyler being that, and thank you, Ms. Lemon, for pulling that together. And I understand there may be another one in the future. So thank you for that. This was a headline, and you might have saw this as a news splash a week or two ago, where GDOT got the final approval from Federal Highway Administration to lead the Vehicle to Everything Pool Fund Study, which is basically a collaborative interstate initiative that focuses on advancing connected vehicle technologies. Pool funds are exactly what it is. It's where states and entities come together to pool their financial resources and work together in a collaborative process so that we're not out doing one-off sort of research and development and deployment as states. So GDOT was approved to take over and lead this pool fund study. So it's always, we're always glad to be at the table, and it's great to be sitting at the head of the table when you're leading these initiatives. So as you might remember, back when we hosted ITS World Congress back in August, we had the Day One Deployment Districts where we showcased our existing connectivity we have from vehicles to infrastructure. And so, again, we lead the nation in that amount of deployments, and it's really an exciting time as there's more and more autonomous vehicles, and part of the economy must be connectivity. And so we're leading that, and again, Federal Highway approving us to do that, it means a lot to us. The study will be led by Alan Davis, who's our Division Director of Permits and Operations, and our first meeting is scheduled in May, so we'll keep you in touch on what we're doing and what we learn from each other working ahead. So just wanted to highlight that again. Staying with innovation, just wanted to provide an update on GDOT's participation in a national peer exchange held just a month ago. And if you recall, back in December, the Director of Engineering, Chris Rudd, presented to you in the Program Delivery Committee the NEPA assignment process that we're going through, of where basically Federal Highway will delegate the authority for environmental document approvals to the state of Georgia. And so Texas has already done that, so they helped host a peer exchange to share their lessons learned in the nation about how that works. We had State Environmental Administrator Amber Phillips there, the Assistant State Environmental Administrator Sandy Lawrence, and then Chris Rudd, our Director of Engineering. All were there at this peer exchange. It was hosted by the AASHTO Center for Environmental Excellence, the Federal Highway Administration, and of course, TxDOT. It really, again, brought together best practices, and Amber was able to be on a panel talking about accelerating project delivery beyond NEPA assignment. And again, we have the Interagency of Office of Environmental Quality, which is a mouthful, but that's where we have all our federal resource agencies working together in one shop here, which is, again, there's no other state doing that. But it's, again, how do we work more effectively and efficiently together with our resource agencies that we must get permits from and make sure that we're in environmental compliance with. So a real honor for Amber to do that, and certainly thankful to Sandy and Chris for attending. We are on track to receive the NEPA assignment delegation from Federal Highway by the end of this calendar year. So we're working through that process. As easy as it sounds, Federal Highway just doesn't say good luck and hope it goes well. We have to demonstrate our processes, our procedures, our staffing capabilities to make sure that we're providing that, which ultimately provides a term called legal sufficiency, making sure that our environmental documents pass the legality bar, that they're compliant with federal law. And so it's a pretty big lift, and we're working closely with our division office and headquarters on getting that, and hopefully we'll have by the end of this calendar year that full assignment, which should help us be more efficient in delivering our environmental documents. So we look forward to that. Also, in the AASHTO realm, just to give you an update, next week is the AASHTO Washington briefing. And obviously we participate as a state, but as a president, I get to do a lot of the responsibilities there. very excited that on Tuesday morning, I'll have a fireside chat with Secretary Duffy to talk about his accomplishments, his visions for USDOT, and I'm going to try to get out of him what the administration's legislative agenda is on transportation reauthorization. We'll see if we can get him to crack and spill the beans, but if not, I'm sure he will provide very informative updates to all of the states about what's going on at USDOT, which has been quite exciting as well. On Monday, though, before it starts, we as GDOT are participating with a few other states, about 10 other states, with the Office of the Secretary's research arm to talk about deploying innovation for connectivity across the nation's interstates. So this whole vehicle connectivity thing, we're talking about scaling that across the nation's interstate system, and that's being led by Assistant Administrator, or Assistant Secretary rather, Saval Oz. So we look forward to be part of that sort of work session with the Office of the Secretary for Research about leading the nation into the next version of the interstate system, which, by the way, is 70 years old this year, if you're counting. We count. All right. Also, at the federal level, I will mention, and Josh didn't tag it yesterday in his update, at the federal level, there has been a bill dropped, a bipartisan bill dropped in the House from Representative Kristen Rivette from Michigan and Representative Brasharin who's from Pennsylvania. I'm sure I got his name wrong. It's part of called the Basics Act. It's supported by the LOT Coalition, which is the coalition of transportation, basically mayors, planning organizations like MPOs or regional planning commissions, things like that. This bill is a little concerning to state DOTs. It reduces the amount of federal funds that would come to state DOTs, provides more state funding to cities and counties based on population more directly. So this is something that AASHTO is certainly working on, and again, I'm not sure where this bill goes. This did not come from the chair of transportation, but it came from members. But it is a bill, so we'll have to go through that legislative process. We'll see where that goes, but we're watching it closely. I think it just goes to underscore that everybody, cities, counties, planning organizations, all need more resources. As we've talked about, the cost of doing business has gone so much. Their way to get at that was to slice the pie differently, to give more direct slices of the pie to cities and counties, which is in itself not a bad thing. But if you reduce our ability to do statewide and strategic investments, which go across multiple jurisdictions, not just jurisdictional, it causes some concern. So we'll see where that goes, and AASHTO will be working with the Hill folks on that, and we'll keep you posted as that emerges. So, Mr. Chairman, that's a lengthy report. How much time do we have left? Oh, okay. I need to stretch. It looks like another 16, 17 minutes. But I'll defer to any questions or comments.
Any questions or comments?
Any questions or comments? Yes, sir. Mr. Grafley.
Is it on the, Mr. Commissioner, I'll say this, going back to the storm report, Kathy Williams and I were a bit blessed because we thought or anticipated some massive influx of weather, but I will commend our personnel across the state because of the preparation that they put in place early on and was then able to go to other regions. I had a lot of folks in my community that were just flat disappointed that they didn't get anything, and the roads were clear, so they had to go back to work.
Yeah. Just remind them, snow is always better in another state.
Exactly, exactly. But I will say this, the reports and the updates that Ms. Dale and then some of our social media platforms, and then what you would send to us, my legislative delegation thoroughly appreciated that, and I was able to forward those things to keep them up to speed. So thank you all very much.
Well, thank you all for doing that too, for spreading that out to your delegation members. It means a lot.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Then we'll have our committee reports. Statewide Transportation Planning, Strategic Planning Committee, Mr. Golden.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, let me say thank you to Ann Purcell, who stepped in. I was detained upstairs in a meeting and was late getting down to it. So, Ann, thank you for stepping in and chairing the committee. The statewide Transportation Planning Strategic Planning Committee convened on February 18th at 1:30 p.m. Board members present included Vice Chair Ann Purcell, who chaired the meeting. Myself was a late arrival. Jeff Lewis, Joe Stein, Doug Stoner, Jamie Boswell, Dennis McIntyre, Kathy Williams, Emily Dunn, Dan Snipes, and Robert Brown by telephone were in attendance. The first order of business, Janine Miller, our Director of Planning, and Ryan Endorf, Assistant Director of Strategic Planning, presented a summary of GDOT's fiscal 25 annual report for the Freight and Logistics Implementation Plan. This annual report is required by the House Bill 617 to be provided each February to the House and Senate Committees on Transportation. Director Miller provided an overview of logistics-enabled business investments since Governor Kemp took office, and provided an overview of the additional state general funds provided in the amended fiscal year 2024 and 25 budgets. Mr. Endorf summarized the information provided in the annual report, noting that there were 311 freight-related projects authorized in fiscal 25. He also noted that GDOT is getting underway on its next update to Georgia's freight plan, and that will be an area of focus over the course of this year. No actions were taken by the committee. The committee adjourned at 1:48 p.m., and Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. Next, Administrative Committee, Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Administrative Committee convened on February the 18th at 1:49 p.m. Board members present included myself, Kathy Williams, Joe Stein, Ann Purcell, Jamie Boswell, Tim Golden, Emily Dunn, Jeff Lewis, Dan Snipes, and Robert Brown. Warren Davis, Assistant Office Head of IT Infrastructure, presented on GDOT's approach to cybersecurity and why it's essential, what assets need protection, and how the IT team safeguards them. Cybersecurity is about defending GDOT's data systems and connected devices from threats. This is especially critical because the GDOT relies on thousands of traffic devices and advanced technology that are connected to the internet. The IT security team's mission is to create a multi-layered shield around GDOT. Each layer adds strength and resilience, reducing the risk of breaches. These layers include advanced monitoring tools, strict security policies, employee training, and strong partnerships in vendors and state agencies. No actions were taken by this committee, and the committee adjourned at 2:03 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre.
Thank you.
Next, Legislative Committee, Mr. Snipes.
Yes, sir. The Legislative Committee convened on February the 18th, 2026 at 2:04 p.m. Board members present included myself, Ms. Purcell, Mr. McIntyre, Ms. Dunn, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Golden, Ms. Williams, Mr. Stein, and Mr. Brown by telephone. Joshua Waller, Director of Policy and Government Affairs, provided a state and federal update. Josh updated that GDOT's agency legislation has been introduced as HB 1277 by Representative Matt Barton, and highlighted other recently introduced legislation. Mr. Waller noted that on February 3rd, the President signed into law the Federal Transportation Appropriations Act to fund the remainder of the fiscal year at full IIJA funding levels. No actions were taken in this committee, and the committee adjourned at 2:09 p.m. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Snipes. Finance Committee report, Ms. Purcell.
The Finance Committee convened February the 18th at 2:10 p.m. Our board members present, including Purcell, McIntyre, Stein, Williams, Dunn, Golden, Boswell, Lewis, Snipes, and Mr. Brown by telephone. Angela Whitworth, our treasurer, presented the Senate version of our amended fiscal year 2026 budget and the governor's recommendations for the fiscal year 2027 budget. She reported that the revenue for the amended FY 2026 budget increased by a total of $2,355,372,226 due to the increase in the excise of $77,688,608 and an increase of state general funds of $2,283,683,618. State general funds added $185 million for, Senate Resolution 316, $100 million for the rural bridges, $15.9 million for airports, $11.59 million for rail, and $1.7 billion in payment to CERTA. The total state budget for the amended 2026 budget is $5,153,242,309. Ms. Whitworth then presented the FY 2027 budget, which was increased by $148,200,658. This reflects an increase of $135,751,698 in excise funds, a $15,520,002 increase in transportation trust funds, $874,376 in transit funds into our trust, and a reduction of $6,947,418 in state general funds. This increased the FY 2026 budget to $2,946,070,741. There was no action taken by our committee, and we adjourned at 2:30 p.m. This concludes our report.
Thank you, Ms. Purcell. Now, give you the Committee of the Whole report. The Committee of the Whole convened on February 18th, 2026 at 2:31 p.m. Board members present included myself, Dennis McIntyre, Tim Golden, Ann Purcell, Kathy Williams, Joe Stein, Emily Dunn, Jeff Lewis, Dan Snipes, and Robert Brown by telephone. First order of business, Cody Dyer with the Georgia Highway Contractors Association gave a presentation on GHCA's second annual Georgia HEO State Championship, held December 8th and 9th in Toombs County. Students and teachers from high school HEO programs across the state gathered at Toombs County High for 2 exciting days of competition, both in the field of operating real heavy equipment and on the simulators. Second order of business, Janine Miller, GDOT Planning Director and Executive Director of CERTA and GERTA and ATL, and Meg Perkle, GDOT Chief Engineer, presented an update on the current state of I-75 South and its express lanes, as well as the Governor's amended fiscal year 2026 budget recommendation, which includes approximately $1.8 billion for the extension and bidirectional expansion of I-75 express lanes in Clayton and Henry counties. Ms. Miller emphasized the importance of the I-75 corridor to commuters and freight, and reported that the corridor is currently ranked by the American Trucking Research Institution as the worst freight corridor bottleneck in the U.S. She highlighted its substantial impact on Georgia's economy, along with the growing congestion challenges both now and in the future. The proposed investment will support increased capacity, improve traffic flow through the corridor, and enhance travel reliability, reinforcing Georgia's position as the #1 state for business. Ms. Perkle provided an additional overview of the current project status and a potential high-level schedule for delivery. No committee actions were taken, and this concludes my report. Next, under new business, remind everyone that the April board meeting will be held where, Ms. Purcell? Okay. I thought you'd remember that. Well, we look forward to being there with you and the others, and hope everyone can attend. At this point, I have Mr. Gravely has 2 very important guests he would like to introduce to our audience. So, Mr. Gravely, the floor is yours.
Well, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. It is my great pleasure and honor to recognize my daughter, my middle daughter, Bella, and her friend Katie, who are with us today. If y'all will stand up. Go ahead and stand up real tall so everybody can see you. And Mr. Chairman, I'm also so very proud. We're on fall break in Paulding County, and instead of the beach or anywhere else they could have gone, they chose to come to the DOT meeting.
Yeah.
So, that should be.
That should be marked down.
That should be marked down. But they're juniors at South Paulding High School, and we're very, very proud of them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. And any other business or comments?
Yes, ma'am.
If not, thank you very much for your attendance, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.